everybody, welcome to episode 93 of the Is That Normal podcast, and today we're talking about summer.
Yeah. So, Randall, are you more of a summer person or a winter person?
Ooh, I'm really, I'm going to be non-committal here, but I'm really more of a fall person.
Sure.
Fall is my season, but I
didn't give you that option.
I know, you didn't give me that option. I'm a rebel. Man, I love them both, but I do love summer. I love summer. We have a boat. We spend a lot of time fishing and on the lake, so summer's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm with you. There's things I like about both, and I need to have at least one good snow a year. So
yes.
like that, but then I'm done with that, and I'm with you. I think if I had to choose, summer would be my choice. There's so many good memories, so many good things you get to do, so many good seasons of just rhythms of life that happen in the summer that I just love. So when you were a kid, was summer vacation a big deal?
It really was. We got to do things that we didn't typically get to do the rest of the year, and like I said, that was when I was a kid, especially my dad loved to fish, so we spent a lot of time on the lakes, and so in the summertime, that was when I got to do that, and so for me that was for a lot of reasons, but especially because that was the times that I got to spend like one-on-one time with my dad, or get to go do something specifically with him, things that we didn't get to do the rest of the year, and so those were like really special moments, and so that was part of one of the cool things that came with summer vacation.
Yeah, I know for me, man, I love the freedom, getting to sleep in a little bit, getting to play outside. When I was a kid growing up, my younger years, we lived in a farm out in the middle of nowhere, and then my grandma's farm was next to us, and this other guy's farm who we helped manage was next to us, and then some other property that we helped manage was next to us. And I had like almost 1,500 acres that I could just explore and go pretend like I was a medieval knight or that I was G.I. Joe or whatever. And I mean, we just went and roamed and had fun and imagined and
I don't know if you had this experience, but like summer vacation also meant that all my cousins were around. Ooh, and so we many times we would all end up at my grandma's house, and so you'd have 8 or 9 of us, boys all running around, and so that meant like more people to just play with and get into trouble with.
Yeah. So, and man, I remember food of summer, like grilling out, eating watermelon, spitting watermelon seeds. I mean, there seemed to be a lot of ice cream around all the time.
Ice cream,
man,
grilled hot dogs.
And my grandma, she just lived around the corner, and she always had like cold soda, and we didn't keep soda around very much, and so we'd go down and get soda, and I don't know, it's just a magical time of life. And and I even this is weird, and I tell people this, and I think I'm weird, but as I got older, I got to help with farm stuff during the summer, and one of the things we did was we hayed, put up hay, and riding a tractor, even though it was like blazing hot, just like and I just remember that's like one of those my favorite memories. And so now today, if I'm ever driving a tractor, it's like I love it, and I think it's just because it reminds me of summer and my dad and the farm, and just good memories.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with the slower pace and increased margin of time during summer, there's a lot of things you get to do, but it's also a really great time for young people to deepen their faith in their relationship with God. But that's a challenge, and we'll talk about that today, because today we want to talk about some ideas to help foster a spiritually successful summer.
Well, welcome back. We're glad you've joined us. We love connecting parents and concerned adults with just great ideas and resources. And so with that, make sure you check out our website, isthatnormal.org, for resources and links and just all kinds of stuff that we post on there. And so, Mark, today we're gonna give our listeners some ideas on how to grow spiritually over the summer. So tell us why that's important.
Yeah, so I've actually, some of the content we're going to talk about today, I've taught several years in the month of May as school's wrapping up to our youth ministry, because I know that while this is a time where there's margin and man, we could really grow in our relationship with God, and this could be a real catalyst for a great next year, there's also when you don't have as much routine, it's really easy to do nothing. And 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 even if you have great aspirations, if you don't make a plan, you're going to get to the end and go, oh, I didn't do any of the things I thought I was going to do this summer. And so just trying to get ahead of that for young people, and today for families, to just say, we want to set some healthy, reasonable goals and expectations. So by the end of the summer, man, we've really grown and we've really experienced some things, and we feel closer and more ready for the next year because of our relationship with God than we were last year. So
And one of the great things about summer, kind of is what we were talking about earlier, is that it's a great time to kind of disconnect. But one of the dangers of summer is that you can disconnect too much. Our last episode we talked about vacations, and those are great and they're important and they should happen. But sometimes we can get so wrapped up in just the loss of kind of that routine through the summer that it's easy to get disconnected from some of the important routines, like showing up to church or just being engaged in some of the spiritual disciplines and things that we do. And so...
Well, and this has waxed and waned over the years, but I mean, when I first came on full-time as a youth pastor here at church, I remember thinking, and I was coming into the summer when we did that, and I thought, man, this is going to be great. I'm going to have all this time, or, I'm going to be able to hang out with kids every day because they're not in school. And kids were just like, poof, they were off on other things, or they just weren't showing up, and like they just disconnected. And and then there's so many demands on your life if you're not intentional about what you're doing. Next thing you know, man, we spent the whole summer. I didn't accomplish anything I meant to, and I didn't see half the kids I thought I would. And so it's easy for that to happen.
Yeah. So what are some of the things we can do to help our kids have a good plan for trying to not just maintain, but to grow their faith over the summer?
So and a lot of none of these are like rocket science necessarily, but just some things. Again, make a plan, remember, and be intentional. And so what I would do early on, right as school's getting out, is just help your young people set some goals, and you can give them some suggestions. And if they say sleeping in and playing Xbox or whatever, we need to push back against that, but help them to articulate maybe what they feel like they want to grow in, and just have that conversation. So what are you going to do this summer spiritually? What are you going to do this summer with church? What are you going to do this summer to get closer to God? And try to help them talk through those things. Obviously this is a great moment to say, hey, what section of scripture or books of the Bible do you want to read this summer? Let's make a goal of what we're going to read. I know right now we're really trying to make an emphasis at church at every age level to try to read through the New Testament in a year. And we've been using Robbie Gallaty's Foundations books, and they've got some for teenagers, and they got for adults, they got for younger kids, and trying to encourage people to just make that goal for a year. But so that means this summer, let's sit down and look and see how much of this. Maybe we're going to read through all the Gospels this summer, and try to make some of those kind of goals. And whatever goals you make and your children make, I would challenge you as the adults to say, well, I'm going to do it with you. So you're doing it concurrently. That encourages them, holds them accountable, and you can talk about it. And maybe there's other things too. You want to make goals. I've often, and actually we were just talking about some things that we're going to do at the middle school ministry here this summer, is challenge them to journal. To just keep a record of what they're praying about and what's going on in their relationship with God. Maybe there's some other spiritual habits you want them to grow in. Maybe there's a summer to challenge them to get a summer job and teach them how to tithe, and talk about giving 10%. Maybe you want to see them get involved more in a ministry at church and plug in and help and give back. So maybe you want them to take a Sabbath rest from media or video games one day a week, because that's going to be one of the things in this generation that's going to be a challenge for the summers. It's really easy to just be on the phone or on video games all day. Well, maybe make a challenge one day a week. Let's turn all of that off for a whole day every week. And again, we as adults got to be willing to do it with them if we're going to challenge and do that. So
absolutely.
So there's lots of things you could do, setting some goals, but then making attendance to church a priority as a family and for them individually. Just say, hey, this is non-negotiable. Maybe we're going to be gone for vacation 1 week, but don't let that 1 week stretch into 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And because we're back and we're out of habit, let's just make sure that this is a priority and non-negotiable for our life. and making sure as adults that we're willing to finance the special spiritual opportunities they have. Summers, man, are so many cool opportunities for kids spiritually. I know we're going to be maybe doing some mission trip stuff this summer for our church, and we try to do that every summer. We always take our kids to camps. We've gone to CIY Move for our high schoolers for decades, and it's expensive. That's a lot of money. But I've watched parents and other adults in our church be willing to invest in that because we see the spiritual impact it has. And we're starting to take our middle schoolers to CIY's middle school event this summer. And again, we've seen parents step up and invest. And so let's just as parents be committed to making sure those kind of things happen. Consider starting family worship during the summer. If you don't already do that, like have a regular time every week where you as a family sit down and read the Bible and pray together and share together. Summer's a great time to start a new habit, and so that'd be good. And we did an episode here a while back about that, and we've done several episodes about that. But we also highlighted Matt Chandler's book and Adam Griffin's book on family discipleship, and we'll put a link in there. But if you don't know where to start, man, that book's like a guide. It's going to tell you how to do that well. Man, this is a fun one. Pray through some sunrises or sunsets with your kids. Like sunrises are super cool, but getting kids up in the morning may be hard. But yeah, maybe just pick to do that a few times this summer. Like, hey, let's enjoy the glory of God's creation, but let's verbally thank Him for that as we do that, and let's just pray together as a family. Kind of a cool event. And then maybe you want to take like a pilgrimage. Last episode was all about vacations. And again, if you didn't check that out, go check that out because we got some cool ideas. But maybe make one of those day trips you take something like spiritually significant, not like that you have to fly to Jerusalem or anything like that. But just, I know for us going to state parks and hiking, man, if we go with that in mind, like let's be aware of the presence of God and the creation of God and do this as a spiritual act. And, it just changes your perspective, and so I think those are some great things to do. And then summer also creates margin for you to serve together. I love summer coming up every year because that means that our students at our church are able to connect with our food distribution program we do every third Tuesday of the month. And they don't get to do that during the school year very much. And so for them to plug in and help, man, we love that. And so if you're from our church or our community and you want to plug in with your kids and do that one of the months this summer, let us know. We'd love to accommodate you, but look for ways to serve together with your kids. That makes a big impact. We find that is one of the most spiritually significant things, both in practice and from expectation from kids as far as them connect with their faith, is that they get a chance to serve in some way. So big stuff.
And one more plug, even talking about the food distribution, but there's multiple opportunities for this. One of the added benefits of that is, I know even for myself, going to and doing things like that allows them to be exposed to other Christians who are serving, and sometimes different generations of Christians who are serving and faithful and will pour into their lives in ways that are super special and powerful. And so there are just tons of opportunities. Again, it goes back to the word you used, intentional. It can be easy to miss those or let the summer slip by, and a lot of times I know I found myself many times kind of when the school year ramps back up and we kind of get back into that fall and winter routine of going, okay, I'm kind of starting back at, and
it's like what they do in school. They have to do like last year's work remediation to get ready for next year's work. Well, we don't want to be there,
right? And how amazing would it be for that to be just a continuation of the growth, the spiritual growth that our students and our kids have had over the summer. And so taking advantage of a ton of those opportunities is a really important thing to do. And I know for me, those some of those times in the summer, whether that's going to CIY, whether that's going on a missions trip or serving, or just taking a trip with people and kind of have, again, getting away from that routine and just being able to sit and have a conversation with somebody where you're not worried about where you got to be next. Those moments are the times that I know that, I look back on and I see growth through that, spiritual growth, and just times where God's been able to speak into my life.
Man, that's great. So our encouragement is don't let this time get away.
Yeah.
For you, for your family, for your children in particular. And so make a commitment to growing spiritually with your family this summer.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, our 2 takeaways is to make a plan and put it into action and subscribe to our podcast.
Be abnormal.